Check that out. It's a big pile of hay, and it's only going to get bigger. And although this represents a lot of work, we consider ourselves extremely lucky. This year, hay is quite a precious thing. It's 2021, and we are having what they're referring to as a mega drought. You might remember a video I did a little while ago planting, and I said, we're about to get some rain tonight. That was the last rain we had for months. Normally, I'm stressing a little bit about timing my hay so that I can make sure I get it pulled in before the rains come. Not this year. I cut whenever I want and consider myself fortunate to have anything to cut. You might remember this field from a video a couple years ago. This grass was so thick, so tall, and I held up a single strand that was over 4 feet tall. This year, it won't grow more than 4 to 6 inches tall, and it's just garbage. Don't be deceived, this is really only 8 inches tall. In fact, every one of our fields hasn't grown anything for us to harvest this year. As you can see here, we're not just in the red, we're in the dark red, D4. That's bad. And if you look at this graph of our normal rainfall, you can see there are long periods of absolutely no rain, with these occasional mini storms that drop a little bit. But then that's where the mega drought comes in. See, we're not just looking at 1 year of bad rainfall, but we're looking at a bad year of rainfall stacked upon several years of super dry conditions, with little snowfall in the winter and little rainfall throughout the year. And it's all starting to add up. Now, we've got it nowhere near as bad as a lot of the states out west, but it still carries its own challenges here. Maybe you enjoyed our plowing and planting video, where we were able to use some really fun equipment to plant in a field of wonderful mixed grasses and clovers. Maybe you remember this video snip showing our clover and grasses coming in so nicely. Well, here's what it looks like now. This field got hit especially hard. The grass was about 3 inches tall before it completely died. Then the deer came in and the clover was the only green thing left, and they completely took that down like an extremely efficient lawnmower. But we did find out that there are some very drought-tolerant weeds that can grow here. We'll see how it comes out next year, but I'm not going to be surprised if we're starting from scratch again. Good thing I liked plowing, I guess, huh? Despite suffering quite a bit of deer damage and a lot of weeds, our alfalfa field might just pull through to next year. Planted alfalfa because it's pretty much magical. Alfalfa is a remarkably drought-tolerant crop, especially on the bottom of this very dry hill. This and the plants you see up behind me have been here for several years, just seed blown down over the top of the hill. And as you can tell, almost nothing grows here except for these alfalfa plants, which, despite competing with the deer, they're doing okay. Well, and that mullein. Let's not talk about that stupid mullein. We like to try to be a little self-reliant, but lately it's just been neighbor-reliant, as once again the neighbors came to the rescue, offering us the use of their land. And their 20 acres is on some extremely productive sub-irrigated land. We've kept all the cows except for the one we're milking out here to pasture for the whole year. Recently, you can see we just opened up the line and they've had the rest over this way that they're working on. And then most importantly, we harvested the entirety of this field and all of that field, and we've gotten quite a bit of hay. So I think we're going to do okay on hay this year. We've still got probably one more big cutting we're going to try to do to make sure that we've got plenty to get through the year. The neighbor's property has still been affected. This is normally a running stream with about 3 to 4 inches of water in it. It's completely dry now. Even here where the grass is normally 5 to 6 feet tall and completely uncuttable, well, it's actually only 2 to 3 feet tall this year. But I'm not going to complain. It's hay that I can cut and put in the barn. Although I can tell you that somebody else has been complaining about it all year long. And you can see with painful distinction behind me exactly where the water ends. All this was cut at the same time, yet half of this field is green, and as soon as you head up the slope to where we live, it's all brown and crunchy. Incidentally, that brown and crunchy is where all the money and fertilizer went this year. We didn't really see any return on it this time, oh well. But fortunately, the land right behind me is actually growing up again, and we might even get a second cutting off of that. So really, what's the overall impact to us? Well, thanks to the generosity of the neighbors, almost nothing. Our garden that we were so excited for is a complete disaster. None of our wheat grew, which normally doesn't require any water. But fortunately, we really don't actually rely on that. That's just a hobby plot. Our trees really hate us, and we hope they'll pull through. And as you can tell behind me, everything is on fire. Now our hay harvest isn't done yet, but we sure are happy to have the security of this in the barn. Buying hay this year is a nightmare around here. Most people sold out instantly. Hay prices that were usually at $150 to $200 a ton have skyrocketed up to $400 a ton. And she is still just as hungry as ever. There's a lot of talk online of really calling back herds as well. Many farmers are reporting a quarter to half of their normal crop, except for those few who irrigate. And those prices are through the roof. Hay that you can get for easily under $200 a ton is now up to $450 a ton. And we needed to get some alfalfa in, so we ended up splurging on these 6 bales. Really, we started to understand that the expectation was just show up early Saturday morning and get in the very long line of trucks and trailers for your pickup. But as I find I'm frequently referencing, hobby farming has really given me an appreciation for the people who really do this for a career. Or go back another 100 years and how frustrating and scary it would be if this was how you were supposed to be feeding your family for the year. It's humbling, and we try to appreciate that experience while maintaining gratitude for the blessings and benefits that we are still able to enjoy in this modern age. So yes, I'll love to dabble with my old-time tractors and old way of doing things, but when I climb off that old tractor at the end of my evening and walk inside my air-conditioned home to my dinner table that will be full no matter what, and get ready to get up to go to my job that's stable no matter what, be deeply grateful for those families that went before, for the families that made this barn work with no such assurances. There's a lot of fun in doing this, but also a touching realization of the efforts of those who have gone before.
This is Cozy Cow Farm!
We've learned a lot over the last couple years working our mid-century hobby farm.
We've grown, and so has our herd and flock.
But we still try to affordably increase our self-reliance while ensuring we and the kids are having fun.
Every day we find there is still more to learn.
So subscribe to join us on the journey.